Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto, Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is the second day that we may start to see some justice on a president that has been a thug for quite a lot of decades. Not years, but decades. But because of his wealth, because of his privilege, has gotten away with it year after year after year after year after year. Finally, we have Alvin Bragg, who says, I am finally going to do something about it. And when I have all the I's dotted and the T's crossed, I will do something about it. And that's what he did. People were pissed at him when he just got into office and said, I am not prosecuting this case. This is not a case that is prepared. This is not a case that's ready. When you get the case ready, we will prosecute the case to the fullest extent of the law. And that's what they did. And in doing so, 12 people, including some that are Fox News listeners, some that are Truth Central watchers, and are subscribers to Truth Social. These people all saw the irrefutable evidence and threw the book at Donald Trump, to which Fox News went into a hyperventilation freakout. Why? Because they can see the walls tumbling down. It'll take a while. Cults take a while to break. And even though remnants of the cult will remain, those people who just won't leave, they just can't believe that they've been had. Eventually, most go. Eventually, most go. Welcome to Politics Done Right. Dear Eric Hayes is in the house from Kingwood at Tascasita. E2247 is in the house from everywhere. Paul Fleming in the house from where again? Atlanta, Georgia. We have as well Maywood from Long Beach, California. We've got who else is in the house? I'm scrolling up. Lee Grant from Montgomery County. And of course, we have Shiva Las Vegas is in the house. Shiva, where are you from? Are you here in Houston or Las Vegas? Always wonder. Yvette Avery Herod in the house from Atlanta, Georgia. One and only Michael Rudnin from Brooklyn, New York. Let's get started. Michael says, seeing a lot of conservatives go through the 5 stages of grief yesterday. So invested in a con man. They're so invested in a con man, even after a jury of his peers convicted him, still looking for others to blame rather than the man who did the crimes. The guy slept with the prostitute. The guy paid the prostitute to hide it, which is a crime. And then to hide it so that it won't be done, so that you can't see it in the campaign issue by the story. The guy also did more than that. When he documented paying to pay for the story, he made it an expense instead of a contribution. Look, folks, this was not a difficult case at all. The guy did the deed. He went and he slept with the prostitute. He lied about it. He tried to cover it up and he got caught. And in the process of getting caught, it was realized that he issued false statements, false tax statements. So he broke the law. And he broke the law for what again? For hiding his affair or his one night stand with Stormy Daniels. And why is that bumped up to a felony? It's simple. Because he tried to influence the campaign by preventing what would have come out from coming out. It is not difficult at all to ascertain. This is what happened. But too many cultists give him a pass. He screwed many cultists over in the past by having them pay for a university education that was never a university. It was always a fraud. He had people go, and he lost that battle. He had to pay back $25 million. He also went ahead and had a charity that he had pay for a bust and many things in his home, using the charitable contribution from other people to enrich himself. Fraud. He got a slap on the wrist. He didn't pay a whole lot of people who worked for him at Mar-a-Lago and many other resorts. He just stiffed these people. Tell them, take me to court. And he keeps them in court till they run out of funds, so it just disappears. The guy is your ultimate crook. The guy, several baby mamas. Had Obama had several baby mamas, they would have turned it into a stereotypical racial thing, even though there's nothing stereotypical of all this baby mama kind of a stuff. But you know what, man? Trump got away with it. Have all these out of wedlock kids running around. Look, I don't have a problem with that. But for the Christians, for those who purport to be the ones who love the Lord and follow those tenets that again, like I said, I say live and let live, right? But that's what they follow. And who are they supporting? They are supporting a thug. They're supporting a philanderer. They're supporting a man who grabbed women by their private parts. They're supporting a man who goes ahead and says he can rape without any problem. They're supporting a man say he can pull a bullet on somebody and still win an election. He thinks you're so mentally incompetent that no matter what he does, hey, you guys are going to be there for him. You guys are going to be there for him. Mike Cisak is in the house. Talk to me, Mike. What's up? You're on, Mike.
Hey, Berto.
Talk to me, my brother.
Hello. Well, I expected this.
Good. Because it had to come, right?
Well, yeah, because leftists can't help themselves.
Really?
I mean, it's historically the same across the world. I mean, you get rid of your opponents, no matter how convoluted it is, and then you remain in power, just like all the other dictators are out there.
Okay.
It is. So,
I'm sorry.
Aside from your diatribe where you constantly lied, I'm sorry, but you did.
All right, stop. Let me stop. Let's stop and do it one at a time then. We'll do it one at a time. You said my diatribe was a lie, so we'll do it one at a time. Was there a Trump University, yes or no?
Let's talk about the trial, not about any other.
No. You said my diatribe. My diatribe.
No. You keep doing this. You keep going off. You keep going off in other directions and talking about non-issues. When
wait. Hold on. One quick, my brother. I promise I'm going to give you a chance to talk.
Let's talk about this trial.
Stop. First, hold on.
Let's talk about this trial only.
Wait, CSAC. First of all, I'm going to talk about what you want to talk about. I will. I promise you. Okay? But you're also going to talk about what I want to talk about. Remember, it's my show, and I've given you the privilege of coming in, and I want you to also have a voice. I honestly want you to have a voice. I honestly enjoy having you here as well.
No, you don't. You want to throw your opinion.
Stop. Whoa. No, don't say that. I am very honest.
It's your opinion.
No. It's not my opinion. No.
Yes,
bro, CSAC. Look, you can't tell me.
I can look all this up and find you're wrong, and you just ignore it.
Wait, CSAC, hold on. You cannot tell me that me enjoy having you here is an opinion. That's a statement of fact. All right? So let's cut it right there. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to ask a few questions, and I promise you we'll get to the trial. It's just that these other items came before the trial. And my problem is that the people that are hyperventilating about this trial have let so much other things pass. And that's the reason I brought them up chronologically. Okay? So bear with me. Let's do a 2-minute thing, and then we can then go to what you want to say about the trial. I promise you that. Okay? So humor me.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a Trump University or not? Yes or no?
Yes, there was.
Okay. Did that university imply with its documentation that Trump was going to be an integral part of teaching and that somehow it was a real university? Yes or no?
As far as I remember, yes.
Thank you. And that's what was legal. And that's why he had to give back $25 million. So that was a bad thing he did. The second thing is he had a charity, and the charity, he took money out of the charity to buy personal items. People are giving money for a charity, and he's using it for personal use. Did that happen or did that not happen?
No.
Okay.
That was a false charge.
Okay, that was a false charge. Okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Even though he paid the price for it, and it was actually he had to
It
dismember.
went through the same New York crack jury area.
Okay, so we're not going to resolve that one.
We'll find out guilty no matter what.
We won't resolve that one. So you don't want to agree on that one. That's fine. Let's go to your case now, which is today's to the case yesterday. Make your point, sir.
Okay. Let me ask you a few questions. Okay.
Sure.
According to the Sixth Amendment, you have the right to present your defense. No matter who, you can present anyone that you want as a defense.
Yes.
Okay. In this case, did Trump get to do that?
Yes. There was one person that he was unable to put because of what he wanted. Who was he unable to put on defense, sir?
There was an FEC officer.
I am glad you brought that up.
He was going to provide the federal law on election donations.
Right.
He was going to say that a candidate can donate as much as he wants of his own money to his campaign legally.
Sure.
Because that's the law.
Sure.
And that's what Trump did.
That's not what, first of all, you're partially correct. That's what Trump did. I mean, I'm
completely correct.
No, let me explain to you. That's what the law says. Here's what Trump did. No, wait. Trump did not. Hold one second.
Yes, he did. And then don't BS me because I know the facts on this.
Listen to the facts. The facts is the person who paid off the woman was the guy, his lawyer. His lawyer is the one who paid the woman, and then Trump paid him back plus whatever taxes he would have had to pay on it. So therefore, that payment went back to the other guy. Davenport, I see you calling.
So here you go. Here you go.
Hold on.
Here's the deal.
Hold on. Is this Davenport onto the line as well?
Yeah.
Davenport? Okay, hold on, Davenport, because I'm not sure exactly how to use this yet. So I think I need to merge the calls or something like that. Okay. Are you there? Are you still here, CSAC?
I'm still here.
Okay, great. Let me finish saying what I'm saying. And hold with me, brother Davenport. Now, Mr. CSAC. And here is the thing. Here is a transaction that occurred. We had Cohen take out a loan to pay off the bill of this woman. After he pays for that loan, he bills Donald Trump. Donald Trump goes ahead and classify that loan, that payment to him as an expense to the company, not the campaign, to the company. And when he does it to the company, he also pays an extra amount to cover the taxes that said income would look like. So it was a false representation of what actually occurred. And that is illegal.
No, it's not.
So wait, do you agree of the characterization that I just made?
It's not. I'm sorry. I've looked it up.
Sir, it's not.
I've actually looked it up.
You're wrong, sir. Let me tell you, my brother, listen to this.
Okay, so
if you were correct, he would not
lawyers or the law. Have you?
He would not have paid $400,000 for a $100 and something thousand expense. And also, it would have been billed to the campaign if it was a campaign donation. It was not billed to the campaign. It was billed to the company. So, sir, you can try to make it look any way you can.
Trump,
go ahead, continue.
Hold on. If Trump had given the money as far as through his own check account in any direct way, okay, it's still legal. You can pay off any person you want for hush money. It's still legal. Now,
that's not the point. That's not what these got convicted of.
Now, Stormy Daniels is guilty of, and she ended up getting a judgment against her to pay Trump like 4 times as much. Okay. So she actually still has to pay Trump. All right. She tried to shake down Trump for a lie. Okay. She lied about the whole affair thing.
Oh, why do you
Actually,
believe Trump?
happened.
Wait a minute. Why do you? Wait, Coy.
She admitted that she lied about it.
No, she didn't. And not only did she not admit that she lied,
she did.
She went ahead and said that she was paid to lie.
She wrote it out and said that it was a lie.
Okay.
Don't you know?
Okay,
Don't you remember?
Here's the deal.
Okay.
CSAC.
Wait a minute.
Let's get Robert. CSAC. Hold on, CSAC. Let's get Mr. Robert into the conversation. You and I are not going to agree on that, but here's the deal. One thing that we know, Donald Trump has a record of lying. I don't know why you would take Donald Trump's word over Stormy's word, but hold a minute. Let's bring Robert in. Robert. Okay, hold on, Robert. It's Robert's turn. Robert, come on in.
Good afternoon, Egberto and Mike Cusack. The interesting thing is that there's a tendency among some people to think if they believe something, it becomes a fact. Facts and beliefs are two different things. And there's a tendency among people to think, oh, if I look up something on Wikipedia and I get my interpretation of a law based on me being influenced by somebody telling me something to begin with, that now when I say, oh, no, that's not the law, I now know better because of my Wikipedia research, better than judges, better than district attorneys, better than lawyers, because, I don't think it's that way. Oh, no, that's not illegal. And then CSAC, I've run for public office. I put my own money in the campaign. And yes, there's not much of a limitation on it, but you have to report it. If you put up $1 million into your account, into your campaign fund, and don't tell anybody where it comes from, that's incorrect. And then if you say, oh, I took this $1 million and now write it off on my business because I paid it through my lawyer to do something for me for my campaign, it's now a legal expense. No, that's business fraud. And you said you don't understand what he's been convicted of. He was convicted of this 34 counts in the indictment. Read those instead of going and reading these, Jonathan Turley things saying, I can't figure out what he was charged with. There's 34 charges. If you can't read, then you won't understand. Right. But if you don't want to understand, you will.
Okay, hold on a second, guys. Both of you.
Hold on. Let me.
Both of you. No.
Goes on and
sir, both of you hold. We have a new caller. Thing. Maceda Polona, come on in, please. I want everybody to have a fair shake. CSAC, you got a lot to say. Some people are upset that I even gave you the opportunity to talk, but this is also your platform. Maceda Poliana, come on in.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Talk to me, Maceda.
Excellent. I just want to say that I think you guys are misrepresenting what happened and what Trump was found guilty of. Mm-hmm. First off, he was found guilty of conspiracy. Mm-hmm. Okay, that is the actual problematic charge, and the reason why we know he was found guilty of conspiracy is because Pecker did not commit fraud. Pecker did not commit any fraud, but Pecker needed immunity. So if he didn't commit any fraud and he needed immunity, what did he need immunity from? Conspiracy charge. Secondly, Trump is lucky because part of this crime happened in the White House. He signed those checks in the White House. That makes it a federal crime. So the truth is the feds could have brought this case and maybe should have. So the fact that this is only being charged as a state crime, Trump is lucky. And the real problem that Trump has moving forward is what is the judge supposed to do? Now he has to look at all the stuff in the legal record. He can't just say, well, he's only been charged. It's the only crime he's been hit with. That's not true. There's a legal record. And the legal record is also civil, where he's been found to be a rapist. That's a legal fact that the judge is going to have to take into consideration. And he also may have to take into consideration Trump's political manifesto. that he published as far as what he's going to do if he's elected president. And then the other problem the candidate has, the judge has, he has to provide a remedy that deters future people. So let me give you an example, an appropriate remedy, given 34 counts and everything. It's 50 years. That's the appropriate remedy. That way, nobody will be thinking, you know what, if it's only going to be 3 years, it might be worth trying to steal an election. And by the way, when I say conspiracy, I would go back to the very beginning when Mitch McConnell stole Obama's Supreme Court pick. This set this whole conspiracy into motion because now the GOP machine had to push somebody that could win. A Southern Republican could never win. Only a Northern Republican could win. So that put Trump right in position like Putin always wanted him to be. Stay in New York, position yourself.
Everybody, thank you, Macedo.
Sorry, too much.
Macedo, thank you.
I got
everybody. No problem. Please, I'm still playing with this new system that we have here. And I think everybody got no, you didn't do anything wrong. Nobody did anything wrong. Everybody got their point to talk what they want to say. So I'm going to ask everybody to hang up now, or I'll probably hang up because we have some videos to show. Go ahead.
Cool. Peace. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Have a good day.
And thank you, Mike Cisak, for you got your platform. And thank you, my brother Davenport, you got your platform. I got to get to some videos, and thank you so kindly, everybody. All right, here's the deal, guys. I was going to play the little video when I think I'm going to still play because I want to gloat a little bit, just a little bit, because Trump has gotten off so many times. So here we go, and then we'll take what. Well, it is official. The former president of the United States is a convicted felon. Check it out.
We've got a verdict. Ari Melber.
We are looking at count 1, guilty. Count 2, guilty. Count 3, guilty. Count 4, guilty. Count 5, guilty. Count 6, guilty. Count 7, guilty. Count 8, guilty. And count 9, guilty. Count 10, guilty. Count 11, guilty. Count 12, guilty. Count 13, guilty. Count 14, guilty. Count 16, guilty. Count 17, guilty. Count 18, guilty. Count 19, guilty. Count 20, guilty. Count 21, guilty. Count 22, guilty. Count 23, guilty. Count 24, guilty. Count 25, guilty. Count 26, guilty. Count 27 on screen, guilty. Count 28, guilty. Count 29, guilty. Count 30, guilty. Count 31, guilty. Count 32, guilty. Count 33 and 34, guilty. That is Donald J. Trump, defendant in New York versus Donald Trump, found guilty on all 34 felony counts.
This was a fair trial, and I must say I am ecstatic that I was wrong. I was wrong. I thought we would have had a hung jury, but you know what? It shows that the threats and all the hype that Donald Trump puts out there to scare people, the paper tiger has finally met his scissors, and that is the jury of American people who are not snowed by the ridiculousness of a criminal, a thug, somebody who has consistently screwed people over, both when he had hotels and didn't pay people, when he created universities that were frauds, when he took money from charities, when he went ahead and raped women, when he did all these things this thug got away with for several decades. And finally, he met a jury of his peers that says, no more. You are a felon. Let's see what the people have to say about it. Let's see if the American people will make the mistake and put a felon as the president of this country. Somebody who is a crook. They did it once. Will they do it again? Hey guys, I had a great interview today. I want to play it today. We kind of got hung up with our brothers and sisters on the line earlier today, but let's go ahead and play. I interviewed Ali Velshi this morning, and I think it's apropos for for the thinking process. Check this out. It's a fairly long interview, and we'll take it on the other side. Welcome to another edition of Politics and Red. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Ali Velshi is an award-winning journalist, host of Velshi and chief correspondent for MSNBC, and a weekly economics contributor to NPR's Here and Now. He has covered multiple U.S. midterm and presidential elections and significant news stories around the globe, including extensive reporting from Israel during the war with Israel and Hamas, Ukraine, and across Central and Eastern Europe during the Russian invasion, the Syrian refugee crisis from Turkey and Jordan, and the Iran nuclear deal in Tehran. He hosts the Velshi Banned Book Club on MSNBC and the Velshi Banned Book Club podcast. Folks, check those things out. You've got to listen to that. You got to watch it. There are a few cable or broadcast hosts and journalists who I listen to or learn from at face value based on the trust they have earned with their reporting. Ali Velshi makes that list that fits on one hand. Velshi has won numerous awards that I'll enumerate in the subsequent blog and article after this interview. Anyway, Ali, welcome to Politics Done Right. How are you doing today?
It's good to be with you, my friend. I also consume all the stuff you put out. And, I just love the fact that in this world where news can be very shallow, right? You get the headlines and you don't get the context, or you have a hot take on the last thing that happened. One of the things I love about you is it's like you read the whole story. You go all the way back and tell you, where did this start? How did it become the way it did? And I think that is so desperately needed in our news environment today. So thank you for having me on.
Well, I appreciate that, and ditto on that. Look, you wrote a very important book. I'll be honest. First of all, I read the preface and then I kind of jumped through it, and I'll talk about what I jumped through before. But again, like I said, in reading the book, I said, well, look, I listen to Ali all of the times, and this is just a microcosm of who this guy has always been. So I am going to read the entire 300 pages, but I just have to do it over time. Anyway, sure. How to become an American in 3 steps got to me. And that you could make a movie out of that chapter. Look, you said it's 3 steps. The first step is arriving. The second step is the paperwork. The third step, I tell you something, really took to me. Here's what you wrote. You write this about being shot by the police, even as they knew you are a journalist. That was the moment, you said, that was the moment when I finally became a citizen in the deepest sense of the word, because that was the day I understood how invested in this place I truly need to be. One day I'll find out who shot me. And when I do, I'll go and I'll thank them, because what they did was open my eyes. They woke me up. They changed my entire outlook on democracy. That rubber bullet told me, you are in this fight. You are not watching it anymore. You are in it, whether you want to be or not. And that epiphany, in turn, is what led to this book.
Yeah.
Man, that is profound. Tell me about that.
Well, as journalists, we always struggle with, are we observers or are we in the story? And we try very hard not to be in the story, right? But as you know from my reporting, because you followed it for a long time, I don't ever want to be the subject of the story, but I always want to be in it. Insofar as I'm always on the ground with people. In the Ukraine war, I was on the train platforms when people were coming in. I don't like to be on balconies. I like to be talking to people all the time about what's going on in their experience. So I don't have this division between journalists on high and everybody else out here. But what I realized in Minneapolis when shot, not that I was shot, people get shot all the time, shot by an agent of the state who, I haven't tried this in court, but I believe knew that we were journalists and we identified ourselves as such. And I realized at that point, you're not an observer. You can't say, wow, what a great job. I get to watch history unfolding. You're in history. And all of a sudden, it created this direct line 125 years back to my family, who had been people who had done things to try and better the society in which they lived, including fighting apartheid for a long time. Right? I have a grandfather who was Gandhi's youngest student. I have an uncle who was in jail for breaking the law and fighting apartheid. And I thought that when my parents came to these shores 50 plus years ago, that battle was over. that fight for democracy was over. We live in real democracies. Little did I know that democracy is a cactus, right? It's pretty hardy if you have it, but you can't just stick the cactus in a dark drawer and hope it grows. It needs some care and watering, and we are all in that fight. That's when I realized in that moment, I'm in it. It's not just my job to tell people what's going on, but to bear witness for them, to hold power to account. Police and later on, Donald Trump described that night in Minneapolis when I got shot as something far more colorful, but entirely wrong. It was entirely dishonest. It was this idea that we and the protesters were doing things that we simply were not, because it was live on TV. I was shot while live on TV describing a peaceful rally, a peaceful march into which the state police and the Minneapolis city police and the National Guard had come in and started firing tear gas and flashbangs and rubber bullets. If we're not there to tell that story, the story does not get told. And hence, we have to be part of the story of democracy. Democracy depends on an informed electorate. If the electorate does not know that the police are shooting at people who are not doing anything wrong, that the police are shooting at journalists to try and silence them, that the police want journalists curfewed because when journalists are curfewed, police get to do whatever they want to do. That's what happens in other countries. You and I come from other places. We know what happens when journalism is silenced and authorities get to do what they want to do. And that cannot be allowed to happen in America.
You have a very interesting history. You are a person that came from many places. You said you had so many passports. What does one more have to do with it? Tell us a little bit about that, because I think one of the reasons you are so good at what you do is because you have seen it from so many different angles, not only ethnically, not only racially, but in every single aspect. And I think to some extent, journalists, if they haven't lived it, they at least need to have learned about it. And our educational system is so poor that they don't. They just think glory, glory, hallelujah, and nothing else. So please expand on that.
We have to read. If we don't live it, and I have lived much of it, and I have, thanks to my employers, NBC and Al Jazeera and CNN, I have been around the world for these things. So when I was in Iran when we did the nuclear deal, but I was talking to Iranians the whole time. I was also interviewing vice presidents and politicians, and I do a lot of that. But that's half the job. The other half of the job is knowing how people live and how people think. And I really think that. Look, in 2015 is when I became an American citizen. What did I care? I had a lot of citizenships, and I'm Canadian. Having a Canadian citizenship is probably one of the best citizenships in the entire world. I thought of citizenship as a series of rights, including the right to vote. And that's important, but I didn't care that much. In fact, many of us didn't care that much in 2015 because we weren't worried that democracy was coming apart. So what did my one vote in New York actually matter? What happened that night in Minneapolis is I learned that citizenship is not simply your right to vote or any of the rights you are accorded under the Constitution. It is your obligation to make society better. It is your I complained to a buddy who said, a Canadian who had become an American, who said, "Why didn't you become an American citizen?" And I said, "Well, I don't want to do jury duty." And she laced into me. She said,
I read that. Yes.
Yeah, she said, you want to enjoy the fruits of this country and the good things that it gives you, but you don't want to sit for jury duty. But her larger point was not about jury duty. But I still haven't done jury duty, by the way. The larger point was you owe your society certain things. And in this perilous time in which we exist in 2024, in 25 years, when our grandchildren ask us, what is it you were doing when democracy was imperiled in 2024? You do not want to be able to say nothing. You do not want to be able to say, but I wasn't really paying attention. It didn't really affect me. It fully affects you. So my getting shot made me realize, because I'm not a black man in America who is in danger of dying when the police pull them over. I am an American citizen who understands that people are not treated equally in this country. So when a black man's life is snuffed out on video in Minneapolis, democracy and justice are not applied equally, and that applies to me. In 2024, today in America, you and I enjoy certain rights that every woman in our lives does not enjoy, which means democracy is not being applied fairly and equally, which means it is not finished yet. And because I come from a place where there was apartheid, I understand that when it's not equal for all, it's not equal for any. 6% of the population of South Africa, the white people had the vote. They thought they had a perfect democracy. If you were white in South Africa, it felt amazing. But there's zero democracy. If there's not democracy for all, it doesn't exist. And that's what we have to realize. If you don't struggle to vote because of where you live, it doesn't mean that it's not your fight to make sure others can vote clearly. If you don't ever need to get an abortion, it doesn't mean that you don't have to fight for others who may need that one day. And that's what that date in 2020 when I got shot meant to me. I am in the fight the same way everybody else is. I do not have a privilege as a journalist to stand off to the side, watch what's going on, and tell you all about it.
You know, Ali, it's interesting because in the original journalist school of thought, it was person A says something, person B says something, and you just throw that out there. And what the Trump group, the MAGA group, and many others, even let's say during the Red Revolution, etc., what they've learned to do is they've used that supposed balance to abuse the system, to mislead the folks. And what I love about what some journalists, as I said, on one hand, they do is they force context. And that's what I see you're able to do in a manner that doesn't destroy the conversation, the dialogue. Right. Tell me a little bit about that.
And it shouldn't destroy journalism, right? I see it on Twitter all the time. People say if there's a discussion about whether it's raining, you don't book one person who says it's raining and book another person who says it's not raining. You open the window and you put your hand outside and you find out if it's raining, right? There's truth and there's bullshit. And we don't give them, we are not here to give them equal weight. What I am entirely prepared to give equal weight to people who are not lying to me. You may have a strong view about abortion or minimum wage or health care or whatever the case is. But if you are arguing honestly from where you come, maybe it's a religious belief, maybe it's a philosophical belief, but you're prepared to make the argument properly, you are invited onto my show to have a debate. And I will debate you even if my audience doesn't like you or your opinions. And I do it fairly often, as you know. I book people and I hear on social media, I don't know why you're giving this person a platform. I will give you a platform if you're being honest. If you honestly believe there should be no minimum wage or minimum wage should be lower or there shouldn't be universal health care. These are all things I believe should happen, right? I have my own views and I don't see anything wrong with my viewer understanding that I have views. There's this thing about objectivity in journalism, right? That you've got to be objective. Objective doesn't mean pretend you don't have opinions. I have opinions. I cover hurricanes, right? I have an opinion. Hurricanes are bad for people. They kill people. I cover tornadoes. Guess what? Tornadoes are bad for people. They kill people. I cover school shootings. School shootings are terrible. I'm against them. I'm absolutely against them. I'm also against lying. I'm also against people who run for office who are against democracy, because while you and I may not share views about how our country should be run, we share views about how we engage in civic activity, or at least we should. I'm not going to share views with you about the fact that this should be a dictatorship or this should be an authoritarian country. And yet there's one party right now running on the basis of a document called Project 2025, which is more than 800 pages long in great detail. And one of your obligations as a citizen is to read it and understand that if you cast a ballot for members of that party, please don't come and complain to me in 2025 and 2026 and 2027 that you feel your rights have been curtailed because you voted for that. Do not vote for your rights to be curtailed. We are not fighting off missiles from another country who is trying to invade us. We have the vote. We have the right to make our own decisions in America. And that is the obligation of citizenship that I now hold because I now have an American passport. Now I am an American citizen. I must fight back the pressures on democracy, just like you must and everybody else must. As journalists, we stand no higher than anyone else. We are foot soldiers for democracy.
You know what is interesting? Imagine if all our journalists thought that way and realized that they are part of it. And if being a part of it means that you don't allow what we are trying like hell not to occur in this country right now. Very important. Now, let me ask you a difficult question. I know you have your book and you have the different blogs and stuff that you do on the side, but you also have a huge platform at a corporate station. You are one of the few that I see who is able to navigate that at times there are competing interests.
Yes.
How can you promote that to other journalists to understand that, yes, sometimes there are conflicts with the way we're going to tell a story, but
yes,
we must find a way to tell a story in as much as we have those around us.
Correct. And I am not troubled by it. I understand that even where I work on some very serious issues that people feel very seriously about, there are different views. The various prospective hosts hold different views. There are so-called prevailing narratives about certain stories. But I will work with those hosts. I appear on their shows and they appear on my shows. I sub in, as you know, for various people whose views are not the same as mine, but I am a pluralist, right? I believe that the quality that we most hold, even as equal to democracy, is pluralism. The idea that we live in a world in which people hold different views, they have different faiths, they have different appetites, they have different diets, they have different lifestyles. And I am not here to tolerate yours. I write in my book, I think tolerance is a terrible word.
Thank you.
Tolerate what you do or your religion or your life or your skin color. It is for me to embrace the fact that both of us live in this place and share in its fruits. Because I came from a family who, by the color of your skin, they could not vote. They were not entitled to certain freedoms. So they came out of apartheid thinking, I want none of this ever again. I want none of this bullshit. People are not judged by their backgrounds and by their ethnicity and by their religion and by their sexuality and by their color or by their political views. So I do not hold it against anyone, including my colleagues who do not share my view on what I think are very important matters, including Israel-Gaza, right? I will continue to engage in them as long as they, and I believe they do, engage in good faith discussions about the whole thing. And as long as good faith discussions mean being open to debate. Be prepared to debate. You can't just hold opinions and not be prepared to argue why your opinions are there and not be prepared to listen to others. Look, Israel-Gaza, it's a complicated matter, man. It's been going on for a long time. If it weren't complicated, it probably would have been solved a long time ago. We're not going to get anywhere simply by yelling at each other. We're not going to get anywhere by calling people names. We're not going to get anywhere by accusing people of things. We're going to get places by continuing to engage in difficult conversations with people who do not share our views. And while I work in corporate America and I understand the limitations of that, I will say my employers have supported my right to do that, my right to engage in whatever dialogue I want to engage in with whatever guests I want to engage in or whatever colleagues I want to engage in. I sometimes get the sense that I'm swimming upstream or working against a prevailing narrative, but that's fine. I'm a journalist. I'm set up to do that.
That's why everybody needs to get small acts of courage, a legacy of endurance, and the fight for democracy, folks. That book is going to be listed in the article and the corresponding blog for this program. Ali, for everybody who I interview, there's always a last question, and it's because I know my limitations, and that is, what would you have liked me to ask you that I didn't, or what do you want to say that we hadn't touched on based on the interview thus far?
Well, you know, the message in the book, it's an easy read. And part of it is people take all sorts of messages from it, right? Some people think it's a book about immigration. Some people think it's a book about ancestry. Some people think it's a memoir, but it's not. It's more about my family than it is about me. But fundamentally, it is an ode to citizenship. It is an ode to the idea that all of us can, in our own small way, change the circumstance we're in. Many of us feel very disheartened and overwhelmed by the political situation we're in, but we can engage, as you do, right? You engage all the time. You have not decided, I'm done. This is too hard. This is too much work. And the whole point of that book is that we all have the power to change something. You may not even live to see the change. But because that's what I write about in my family. My grandfather died in 1961 at the age of 58, thinking all his efforts had failed. And yet his son became a member of parliament. And his grandson is the guy you're talking to right now. So my point is, do not give up. Do not think that you are impotent. You are not. You have strength and you have power.
Ali Velshi, award-winning journalist, host of Velshi, and chief correspondent for MSNBC. Thank you so kindly for having been on Politics Done Right.
Thanks for having me.
All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed that. I have a little quick one here for you. Donald Trump lawyer threw him under the bus. And in the process, he made some silly comments about how great Donald Trump's ideas are. And that's the reason why Donald Trump played a part in his defense, a defense that he ultimately lost. 34 counts guilty. But anyway, listen to what they had to say, and then we will take it on the other side.
How involved was Donald Trump in his own defense?
I mean, what do you think? I mean, very involved. Man, he's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. He jokingly said to us a lot, sometimes he wanted to be the litigator. You know, he wanted to be the one that was actually arguing because he's a smart guy and he knows what he's doing.
I mean, Christy, I just, you all are lawyers, okay? I'm the only non-lawyer here. And he's just admitting that his client, who's a problematic client, is micromanaging the strategy in the case on television. But I just want to get your thoughts on that. You were shaking your head as you were watching it.
Yeah, I mean, he's saying that Donald Trump knows what he's doing. Based on what? Let's look at his track record. He's a loser. This is his first criminal trial, but we've seen civil trials. He lost the civil fraud trial, $464 million. Then you have 2 defamation cases. He lost both of those. Not only defamation, in one of them, there was a liability for sexual assault. I mean, he has just go through the litany, the Trump Foundation, self-dealing, the gag order rulings, loss after loss after loss. I'll continue with it because it's after midnight. If there's a gloat, he's the greatest loser of all time, right?
Gloat and float.
So I don't understand why Todd Blanche, who is before this at least a reputable lawyer, would be saying I'm taking cues from somebody who knows what he's doing, who has continually shown that he does not.
There's one thing that Trump shows, right? And that is because of our educational system here in America, that just telling people things can create a false reality of who you are. Oh, Trump is a billionaire. Really? What does he own? What does he make? What does he create? Nothing. He plays with real estate and inflate and deflate dollars based on whether he wants to pay taxes or appreciate stuff. He was handed a silver spoon from his parents and he went bankrupt a whole bunch of times. And he's a great businessman. You're fired. Folks, we have to grow up as Americans where we don't just believe what people say. We go ahead and start making sure we understand what they're saying and look for the factual backing behind it, and not try to, like one of our people say, try to find the story that makes what we are saying true. Because there are a whole lot of people posted on the internet that don't know what the hell they're doing or what the hell they're posting, or they're posting to misinform you. That's not what we do here. I ask everybody when I write, when I talk, when I do videos, go ahead, fact check it. And if you can come with a legitimate response that proves that something that I put there is incorrect, I will come on air and say I am incorrect. That is where we need to go. Donald Trump is a paper tiger. Donald Trump is simply a blowhard that has been talking about doing things done, but never has accomplished anything seriously in life. It just shows that we have in this country, we have an economic system that isn't necessarily based on value, isn't necessarily based on what you can produce, but it's based on what you have the ability to fool people, to snow people into who you are or what you have done. And that is Donald Trump. Unfortunately, he has a huge following, about 33% of the voting population. And again, I must say this, 33% of the voting population are hooked on him. Yes, low information, folks, I understand that. But better, the ones that we really have to watch are those who are just doing it because they understand that Donald Trump being president means that they will be able to walk on the backs of so many others. They will be able to abuse so many others. Welcome aboard, Troy Astro. Real businessmen don't bankrupt casinos nor cities. I agree. Davenport, I want to thank you so kindly for your super chat, my brother. Davenport gave us a super chat. Anybody else wants to give us a super chat? Just click on that super chat button on YouTube and become a part of our PDR posse. Folks, I had one more video to show. It's a billionaire on Wall Street. What I'll do, the billionaire supporter of Donald Trump, and I show how evil they really are. We'll go ahead and play that video tomorrow because we're out of time, mostly because we had good conversation from both Davenport and Ramana. I can't remember his name right now, as well as brother Mike Cisak. But anyway, folks, listen, let me tell you, let's keep on doing this. Here's the thing. I don't know if you all know, because you guys are supporters, there's a whole lot of traction that our videos and everything else get. You know, as you could see, you know, Ali was talking about, use a whole lot of the stuff that we do. Yeah, tomorrow we're having Ask Egberto Anything as well. I forgot. Thank you for reminding me, El Señor Eric Hayes. Let me go ahead and put the link for signing up. If you want to sign up for Ask Egberto Anything, here is the link. Please go ahead and sign up now. Let's talk tomorrow at 11 Central, noon Eastern, and it's of course 9 Pacific, 10 Mountain, 11 Central. Let's talk. Come on into our Ask Egberto Anything, and you can just go to politicsdoneright.com/Ask Egberto to sign up. Folks, I want to thank you guys for being out here. We simply can't do that anymore. Can't do Zoom with Magas anymore. I understand that. I understand, Bridge. You have to keep your sanity. And whatever you have to do to keep your sanity, you do it. Those of us who can will continue just trying. You know, they got the way they got because of repetition. I am guaranteeing you that repetition will work for some. Okay? I'm guaranteeing you that. And you don't have to do it, my sister. It's okay. You are doing your job by being here. I just love that you're here. Anyway, folks, please support the program. How can you do that? First of all, if you want to see all the places that we have our messages in, go ahead and find it here. Robert Davenport says, Mike Cisak, I'm grateful we live in a country where you can be wrong and not fear repercussions from the government. Exactly, Robert Davenport. You nailed it. Folks, go to politicsdoneright.com/info. You get a chance to see all the platforms where all our videos, shorts, and everything else is found. You can also find out how to give us support. To support the program completely, go to politicsdoneright.com/support. That has all the different options that you can use to support us. You can support us by becoming a patron. How do you do that? Go to politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Alternatively, you can get all our books, politicsdoneright.com/books. And what books am I talking about? Whoops. We have many books, right? As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. We also have How to Make America Utopia, take away the economy from those who rigged it. And of course, there is Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man, right? And the other, by the way, I also says, Racism Didn't Stop My Smile, Hope, or Journey. This book is made for everybody, and I guarantee you're going to like it. Lose Weight and Be Fit. Now, I'm having to reread my book to take off 10 pounds. And the last one, It's Worth It. How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relative, Friends, and Neighbors. Go to politicsdoneright.com/books. Get all 5. Look, it's a worthwhile read. And what you'd be doing is you'd be helping us continue doing the work that we have to do. Don't forget, though, we have a newsletter that goes out once or sometimes several times a day. Today, you're going to get the full Ali Velshi story in there. So how can you do that? Go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. And what I'm asking you to do is I'm asking you to become a paid subscriber. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. If you want to be a paid subscriber of our newsletter, that helps a bunch. It's just a coffee or so. It's worth it. Please. The Latino book is good. Thank you very much, Eric, for getting the book and for reading the book. Appreciate you. And appreciate those who look. For those of you who bought the book, several of you have bought the book, but you haven't written reviews. I would love for you to go ahead after you buy the book to write the reviews as well. Anybody who's bought the book that wants a code for an audiobook, I'll go ahead and send you a code for the audiobook, and you can also do it there as well. Anyway, folks, I got to get out of here. Don't forget, tomorrow is Ask Egberto Anything. Go to politicsandright.com/Ask Egberto and sign up. It's free. And we sit down and we have our Zoom to do our talk. I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what?
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.